Well, welcome everybody to our webinar on the Fulbright English Teaching Assistant Program. Ryan and I are very excited that you've decided to join us today. We've been looking at the names of those who have signed up and happy to see some names that are familiar to us and maybe we've even already met with, and some people we don't yet know but are looking forward to meeting with. I'm Christine Overstreet. I'm the Director of Fellowships at Amherst College, and I'm actually an alum of Mount Holyoke, so I have that connection. But truly, my heart is with the Mammoths right now, and I'm very glad to be introducing you to or sharing more with you about the Fulbright ETA program today.
And I'm Ryan Lewis. I'm the National Fellowships Advisor at Mount Holyoke College. I've been at Mount Holyoke since September 2016. I am broadcasting or whatever, webinaring from my home in South Hadley, just steps from the college campus of Mount Holyoke. There's the Mount Holyoke Lion right there. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm here if I get interrupted or not interrupted, but if people join me or if creatures join me, it could either be my daughter Quinn, my dog Riley, who right now is down here, he might pop up, and then my cat.
I am not a creature.
My cat Maddie, not a creature. I was trying to get a group. And my cat Maddie, who might jump up here at some point too.
So just so you have a heads up about what we're going to be talking about in this hour, we're first going to explain about the Fulbright mission overall and the structure of the program, how it's organized, and then what is the history of our two institutions with the Fulbright program. We'll talk a little bit about all the grant types that exist, but really focus on the ETA and talk about what there is in terms of a range of job descriptions or roles for ETAs.
The ETA being the English Teaching Assistantship, one of the largest grant pools in the Fulbright family. We'll want to talk, and consequently, so much variety within the ETA family. We'll want to talk with you a little bit about how you might think about your professional toolbox, what you have as skill, what you have as experiences that you can mine in order that might equip you to be a competitive ETA candidate. And we'll talk with you a little bit about how you might inventory that. Think about what your teaching qualifications are and what your teaching-like qualifications might be. And then this is an opportunity for you, if you decide to pursue an ETA, that you be a little bit nimble and that you are able to make good arguments for what you've got in your skill set that make you a good quality teacher.
And then we'll talk about how we can help you assess that and also show you how to find information on the Fulbright website and other places that will help you make decisions regarding your application. We'll also discuss the application components.
Yeah, we will certainly do that. And we'll also, we'll take you on a dynamic trip through the very big Fulbright program website. It's a lot of information, a lot of places to draw your attention to. But we're gonna focus on a couple of key pieces that we think, both in our advising experiences and then also from what we've learned from students who have gone through the program and applied for it and become successful, where they paid attention to. So we'll highlight key pieces we want you to pay attention to, and especially key pieces that we expect you to be experts in if you decide to apply with us for the ETA program. We'll also then point you to other useful resources that might be good in you putting together a competitive bid for the ETA.
First of all, just a little bit about the Fulbright program mission. The Fulbright program was launched with an idea that Senator J. William Fulbright had after World War II, when he introduced a bill into Congress that called for the use of surplus war property from that war to fund the promotion of international goodwill through the exchange of students in the fields of education, culture, and science. And then President Harry Truman signed the bill into law, and Congress created the Fulbright program. So the program has been in existence quite a long time. We highlight the mission. We focus on this program goal to foster mutual understanding between nations, advance knowledge across communities, and improve the lives around the world. Because with the Fulbright application, just as with any grant you ever apply to, you always want to think in terms of what is the mission of this organization and how will I fulfill that mission? How will I fit into it? How will I show them that I'm going to advance what they want to see done in the world? And this is true in an interesting way with the ETA application, because it's really kind of like applying for a job. It's a role. So just as with a job application, you'd be trying to show how you're going to help the organization, you want to do the same with a Fulbright application. So the program itself is under the U.S. State Department and specifically within the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, but is administered by a nonprofit called the Institute of International Education, IIE. And the program, from the selection through to the actual support of Fulbrighters out in the world, is done binationally. So there are people stateside who are involved with the application and selection process, and then there are people overseas who are also involved with that process. So it's not a one-sided kind of thing.
You might be wondering, how our colleges fare. Over the last, since 1948, I guess, 1949, there have been Fulbright awards given to graduating seniors and recent graduates through the U.S. student program. And both Mount Holyoke and Amherst College have a long track record of winning Fulbright fellowships. Since 2016, or the class of 2017, I'll say, the competition year 2016, MHC has won 15 ETAs. Just this past year, placed ETAs in Austria, in Thailand. These are folks who just found out they won. In Austria, in Thailand, in Colombia, in the Czech Republic, and in Germany, and right now we have one alternate to Bulgaria. Also, our success rate over the last 4 years has been about 62.5%. So that means of folks who apply to those who actually are offered an ETA award. It's not too shabby.
It's so cool and exciting to think about all of those people from Mount Holyoke out in the world doing this work. Similarly, from Amherst, there have been Fulbright winners since the inception of the program. So our earliest winner was in 1948-49. Since that time, Amherst has had around 320 Fulbrighters out in the world. This year we've had 11 winners. A lot of those have been ETAs this year. So we have people who will be going to Malaysia, to South Korea, to Spain and Mexico, all kinds of different places. And if you follow our Facebook page, you've maybe seen some of those posts. This year, most of our winners at Amherst are ETAs, but that isn't always the case. And as we mentioned, the Fulbright program represents a number of different kinds of grants. We've alluded to those a little bit, but we want to just quickly review what the program overall has to offer. So first of all, what we did a webinar on Tuesday was about the independent research grant. That's an opportunity to create and design a project of your own and to go out and do it in one of maybe 140 different countries in the world have the opening for independent research program.
The second main type of Fulbright awards are graduate study grants. These are awards for students who are hoping to enroll in graduate degree programs, or at least in some university program for a certificate or maybe a second BA or something. And these are specific to countries. Some countries have what they call named awards or partnership awards. You might go to a country summary page, which we'll walk you through a little bit later on in the presentation, and show you where there's an open study research award. Then there's these named awards, And some of these have very direct, scholarships basically to go study in that country at a particular university.
And then finally, the grant that you're here to learn about today is the English Teaching Assistantship, or as we often refer to it, the ETA. And that is a job, really, in which you enter a classroom and other venues to share your knowledge of English with people who want to learn that language in other countries. This is the most popular grant in the Fulbright program, in that it's the grant for which they offer the most spots. So in any given year, they're offering around 1,250 opportunities for the ETA, whereas for the study research grants, it's around 950. And there are about 75 countries who welcome and desire having English teaching assistantships in their countries. So it's likely that many of the people you've heard about winning a Fulbright grant are ETAs, but these other grants are definitely part of the program as well.
And just like the fact that there are, over 75 countries that offer ETAs, ETA opportunities, over 1,250, I think, ETA awards out there. The placement type, the type of job description that an ETA might get, depending on which country they're applying to, can be as incredibly varied as the number of awards that there are. In one country, you might be a conversation partner. In another country, you might actually be standing in front of a group of adult learners at a university and talking about English syntax and grammar, and having them write academic papers. And then, of course, there's all kinds of things in between. You could be a mentor or a coach. You might be helping to advise high school students on applying to colleges in the United States. You might be helping students with debate teams and model UN classrooms, and working on art projects, or working in different kinds of disciplines within a school to help them to learn at the same time as you're helping them utilize their English. So these are all, there's a whole range of opportunities, and sometimes to try and talk about a very big program in a very general way, we might limit more than we're able to always directly specify. But nonetheless, there's a great range out there, which is a really nice feature of the ETA program.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, you may know someone who had an ETA role in a particular country and think that because of that, you understand what it's all about. But as you can see, there are so many different variables that have to do with that role that it's really important to explore all the possibilities. So we're going to work on that a little bit today, and also think about what you might be best qualified to do.
And a big chunk of the ETA path, or the ETA process, is to go through a period of, or to go through a process of self-discovery and self-inventorying, where we're really kind of trying to look at what we have inside of us, what we have in our background, in our track record, something on our resume, something that we're deeply committed to, that we can bring forward in order to make a best case application in order to become an ETA. And there's kind of like sort of maybe two main paths to go down. One is, how qualified am I as a teacher? So there might be a lot of folks out there who might be education majors, who might be working on single discipline certificates, or maybe might want to be elementary school teachers or what have you. Definitely are interested in MA programs, at some point getting a master's in teaching or something like that, and really working on being a classroom teacher. There are ETA programs out there for you. And in those, in applications like that, you want to think about how well you are versed in pedagogy. Do you have experience writing lesson plans and standing in front of classrooms and delivering? And then, of course, in a lot of these cases, especially if you're working with advanced learners, advanced English language learners, how well do you speak the country's language? Because sometimes tricky language problems require you to speak in the native language in order to kind of make a point.
Some of the qualifications that you might possess, but that aren't, squarely a degree in teaching, can be transferable to a teaching role. So for instance, You might have done camp counseling, or you might run something to do with orientation trips at the beginning of the year for first years. You might be an intergroup dialogue facilitator and know how to get people talking in a group. That's actually quite a desired skill for ETAs. To have tutoring and teaching experience, maybe at MHC you're a SAW mentor, at Amherst you're involved with reader to reader, or you're a TA in your department. Even if you're a TA for a foreign language, you know, what we would consider a foreign language if you're a native English speaker. So let's say you're a tutor in the French department or a tutor in the Spanish department. You understand how you learned the language, and you understand how to teach that language, and you can often transfer those skills or use those same techniques to teach English. Other things that seem less intuitive to people when they're thinking about how they're qualified to be an ETA are things like being an admissions tour guide. Many ETAs, as we mentioned before, have as part of their role doing presentations on US culture. And so if you've been an admissions tour guide and you're accustomed to doing presentations, they know that you're likely to be very good at that, and that can make you a very attractive candidate. Also, this has only appeared in the last several years, but there are some countries that quite desire someone who's had experience with debate teams or forensic clubs. So if you've ever been involved in debate, you know how that works, or Model UN. Some of the countries want people who have had experience with that. Those can make you highly qualified as an ETA for those countries. If you've ever taken a psych course, or maybe even a history or American studies course that touches on education, that gives you some understanding of what the issues are or things to think about as an educator, that can be helpful. And for many countries, language skills are actually not required, though for some they certainly are. And for many countries, it's not required that you be an English major or an education major. You can major in many other things. In fact, some countries prefer candidates who have math and science undergraduate degrees, which also seems counterintuitive to people sometimes when they're applying for the ETA.
I think a lot of it is about being interested, being interesting, being engaging, being engaged in the culture, and then also, how well do you get people to feel comfortable with you talking? So much of the ETA experience is about getting people talking in English, whether it's at a really high level or whether it's at a very elementary level, and how well do you frame how you do that. So there's a lot of ways that you can think about what you do on a sort of regular basis and how that might apply to an ETA role. Yeah. So you might be curious at this point, what do I do now? What's going on? There's so much to think about. There is a lot to think about. And so what Christine and I have practiced is to sort of, have you all maybe revolve around a concrete example, or at least allow us a latitude to create a concrete example and sort of maybe walk a hypothetical student through the ETA process. Also, since we're broadcasting from home, you all have been home for a long time, presumably. Maybe you're also on campus, wherever this might find you. Nonetheless, many of us are at home, and I've been having to work with my dog and my cat, my daughter. My daughter has actually contributed to our presentation, and she's helped us by creating a typical Amherst College or Mount Holyoke College student. This is Cam, everyone. Say hi, Cam. So this is Cam. Cam, Christine and I are gonna utilize to help us walk through what the ETA process might be. So Cam's going to join us here and there in the rest of the presentation. So we wanted to just kind of say, what does Cam do if Cam has questions?
Mm-hmm. So if Cam has questions, or if you have questions or want to talk more specifically or individually about your prospects and your interest in the Fulbright, and we certainly hope you do, we do want you to make an appointment with us at our respective institutions. So at Amherst, that would mean just going to the Office of Fellowships webpage. You can even just put Fulbright in the search window of the AC website, and on the left-hand menu, you'll see it will say request an appointment up here. Just click on that, fill out the form, comes to my inbox. I respond with a Zoom appointment, and away we go.
That's right. And one thing I'll just mention here is that my daughter's 9, and we're working on spelling. And unique is a very hard word to spell. And so it actually says, be unique, help you be the best you can be, which is her feature, not mine. Anyway, we're going to take you now to the Fulbright website. We're at the Fulbright Student Program website. Many of you may have come here before, heard about the Fulbright, checked it out a little bit. There is a ton of information here. And where do you start? How do you start? When you come to walk into our office and are interested in ETA, we're going to walk you through some of the key pieces of information that we want you to pay attention to in order to help you make a really informed decision and to help you kind of find all the pieces that they give to you in order to create the most competitive bid you can. So first off, with an ETA award, if you're really interested in the ETA, we'll come to the Fulbright U.S. Student Program website, and we're going to go to types of awards. This is under the About section. You can read all kinds of stuff here. But types of awards, we'll go to the English Teaching Assistant Awards section page. And here on the ETA page, types of awards, you can search by, you can filter for different kinds of opportunities. You'll get a chance to read, what countries have ETAs on offer, how many they offer you, what types of placement, whether or not you're teaching adult learners or advanced English learners, all the way to elementary school learners, and where that might,
I'm in elementary school.
And you sure are. Where that might shake out for you in your history and your, yes, I am, and your requisites, what you have in your professional toolbox. They'll talk a little bit about placement locations, whether or not you're going to be in urban places or rural places, remote places, or in metro, cosmopolitan places. They give you an hour frame, whether or not you're going to be teaching 40 hours a week or less than 20. And then whether or not you need the host country language. So we'll navigate through this. Of course, we'll ask you questions. What are you interested in? What part of the world? What kinds of languages do you have, etc. But we'll want to do that. Oh, sorry. The next thing we'll want to do is we'll want to go to a country page. Once we get an idea that you have a short list of countries that you're interested in, we'll go to country pages. And this is where, with the ETA program in particular, what the award summary page lists for us, we have to take as a job description. Mm-hmm. In the ETA application, maybe a little bit more, might be a little bit more restrictive in how we talk about what we're trying to do, as opposed to like an independent research project where we're putting something of our own making, creative project together. We're sort of making our way through the country over the course of 10 months or what have you. In an ETA, they're looking for something very specific in the English teaching assistantship portion. So it matters that we spend time on a country's award summary page. Mm-hmm. And then it matters that the time that we spend on that country summaries award page, it matters how close we pay attention to what they're talking about. We want to give you 4 examples that animate just how tricky sometimes the ETA can be, and how important it is that you don't create a generic application, but a very specific application for the job responsibility that they're looking for. Did I miss anything, Christine, in that?
No, you're spot on. Let's go to
great.
Malaysia.
All right, let's go to Malaysia. So we're going to go to the Fulbright countries pages are set up via region. We're going to go look at Malaysia. This is our first opportunity. Ooh, I missed, there it is. First opportunity to look at what an award summary looks like. Oh my gosh, there's 100 English Teaching Assistant Awards to Malaysia. That's incredible. That's a lot of awards. There are very few countries in the world that offer more ETAs than Malaysia. But one of the things about Malaysia's award summary page is that it's kind of long. There's a lot here. There's a lot to read. And pretty soon, if you read a number of different countries, you'll sort of get a sense that, you know, they're going to offer the same thing. They're going to tell you how long the grant period is. They're going to give you some information on whether or not there's a pre-departure orientation. Do I come to DC and do like this is Fulbright kind of workshop before I go, or do I get in country and do a workshop there, et cetera. Candidate profile, what they're looking for, et cetera. If you spend time looking through a lot of countries, you'll see these. You might have a chance, or you might have a tendency to glaze over, but I'll tell you, don't glaze over certain things. Malaysia is a great example. Right in here. It's not in bold. It's not highlighted. It's not drawing your attention specifically to this key piece, but it's here. In the candidate profile section, they talk about health. All applicants should indicate in their applications if they have any medical conditions that could impair their abilities to teach English or to maintain a stable, healthy lifestyle for the duration of the grant. This is incredibly important because in Malaysia, some medications commonly prescribed in the United States are not available at the local market, and they require a waiver from the Ministry of Health, the government of Malaysia, in order to bring them into the country for personal use. So this is important for people who might have pre-existing conditions or have some kind of medical condition. If you want to apply to Malaysia, you have to know early on if they're going to allow you to treat it. And in the case that something might happen, you'll need to know how to deal with that. And so this might be a factor in your choosing this country. Also later on here underneath the award summary page, they're going to talk a little bit about that. Here, they'll talk more about it here. This is also the case in Malaysia because some placements are in very rural, also known as remote locations, villages that might be really difficult to get to. And in rainy seasons, if there's a health challenge, it could be a real serious matter. So this is something you want to pay attention to. Sorry, keep going back and forth. The next country we want to go to is Argentina.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second because there were two things I just wanted to interject about Malaysia. One is that surprisingly to some people, it doesn't have a language requirement. And that's true of almost all of the East Asia Pacific countries. So when you're thinking about a country, don't assume that there's a language requirement that you don't have. There actually isn't one because it's a less commonly taught language. There would be so few people who could speak it or know it in the United States. So that will always be on every country summary page. And then the other thing is the age group, right, Ryan? The piece about who you might be teaching in that country. And I think Malaysia has children, secondary school. So secondary school is typically middle school and high school.
Right. And so this matters if you have a lot of experience with, middle schoolers, high schoolers, camp counseling, that sort of thing. Maybe you've done that even with elementary schools. And that might be the bulk of your experience in front of learners. You might want to kind of shift your gaze towards countries that offer those kinds of placements. Thanks, Christine. Appreciate you bringing that up.
Sure. Now I'll let you go to the next country.
Great, thank you. We're going to go to Argentina, which is maybe a counterpoint to Malaysia in one way. A country that, Malaysia, Malay isn't necessarily taught widely in the United States, but Spanish is. And here in Latin America, here in the Western Hemisphere, in Latin America, we want to draw your attention to Argentina. 20 English Teaching Assistant Awards, one of the largest ETA programs in Spanish-speaking Latin America. The ETA's program in Argentina requires that your foreign language proficiency be at least intermediate. Many of the countries in Latin America require at least intermediate, if not proficient. And so they're going to talk a little bit about that here. And this is a point in case because in Argentina, you'll be teaching at a university or post-secondary institution. Post-secondary institution might be a trade school, a vocational school, some kind of institution in which folks are working on their English to utilize for their profession or what have you. So this is something we want to draw your attention to. Also, in Latin America, especially, the requirement for being an ETA will not exceed 20 hours per week. And so consequently, in a lot of Latin America, they will require you in your ETA proposal, which is your statement of grant purpose, your one-page essay. You'll have to talk about what makes you a good teacher in the classroom for adult learners. And you'll also need to put up a supplementary project for consideration on the reviewer's side. And so this is something you want to pay attention to, especially in Latin America. What are you going to be doing outside of the classroom? These are very popular places to go. How else will you be spending your time? Did I catch everything there, Christine?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The next country we want to go to as an example of really paying attention to these award summary pages is Germany. Germany, also a very large ETA program, 140 awards. One of the cool things about Germany is that if you have any German whatsoever, you can apply and you might have a shot. The ETA program in Germany is also very responsive to the policy needs of the country. So thinking about the program in general, United States State Department, relationship with the country, the government of the country, and especially in the ETA case, the Ministry of Education in that country. And in Germany, one of the things that they're really looking for in their applicants is whether or not you have experience working with diverse communities. As it's happening all over Europe, throughout the European Union, and certainly in Germany. There are a lot of folks who live there now or are coming in who might be refugees or might be from minority populations in Southern Europe or in Africa and the Middle East. And so they're looking for folks who might have experience working with these communities, might know the languages, might be familiar with the culture. And so if you have that, and you have an interest in Germany, and you have some familiarity with the language, and or an interest in getting to know German culture, this is something you might want to highlight in your application to be an ETA in Germany. That is something we wanted to cover there. And then finally, one more country we want to draw your attention to in the Middle East and North Africa, a country in which French language proficiency, familiarity could help you, but also some understanding and knowledge of Arabic is Morocco. So many students at both of our colleges have interests in French and Arabic, or speak French or Arabic. But here in Morocco, something that's really important is to recognize the sort of the culture under the cultural exchange piece of the Fulbright US student program. So here in Morocco, they actually call it out. Down here. In the placement type, you've already maybe seen in a number of different places the writing under placement type in the job description. Some are long, some are short, some are whatever. Here in Morocco, and now they're actually calling your attention out to it. Here, almost all ETAs are standalone teachers in the classroom. In a lot of cases, ETAs will be matched with lead teachers, especially in elementary schools. There will be a master teacher. You will be their assistant. You're there to help them, the young students, speak English, listen in English, learn about America, etc. But here in Morocco, you're going to be working with adult learners, university post-secondary institution, and you will stand in front of the classroom and deliver. So it's really important that you know how to develop a lesson plan, that you know what classroom management is all about, that you've done it, especially with adult learners. And that is something to know. If you've got that kind of experience, you've got French, or you've got some Arabic, and you've got some interest in learning French or working on Arabic, then this might be a place that you want to direct your attention to. Other places to visit on the U.S. student website to kind of, how do I shape my bid? Where should I be pointing my interest? Here in the statistics page, you can filter for ETA awards to some of these countries and get a sense of what countries have a good shot and which countries don't. So we'll just look real quickly at Malaysia and see what my percentage chance might be. Over the last few years, here you go. Your chances are pretty good. Probably around 50% if we average that out. That's not a bad shot. So if that's something that interests you, if you've got that sort of spirit of adventure, and your health would allow you to apply to something like Malaysia, and you're really interested in expanding your horizons, this might be a place to go. Anyway, the statistics page is here for you. You can utilize it for any ETA program out there. It'll tell you your percentage chance. So that's there for you as well. Another thing that Christine and I want to talk about, or just reiterate, and we mentioned it already, is to pay attention to what's happening in country, especially as it relates to educational priorities. Some systems, some cultures think of or have expectations of their teachers or expectations of their students that are different from the United States. And so here at the United States Department of State, bilateral relations fact sheets, which you can find here at the URL at the very top. We'll get a sense for what's happening sometimes at the educational policy level. We wanted to draw your attention to Indonesia, because in Indonesia, apply filter. Here in the bilateral fact sheet. Here it is, U.S. assistance to Indonesia. Right here in the top paragraph, cooperation extends across a range of key development areas. Number one, strengthening education and professional ties. Indonesia is very interested in having really good quality ETAs. And there's a lot going on in Indonesia about it trying to develop its university structure. I think it says in here as well, Christine pointed out. So this is something that you'll want to know. If you're set on a country, come learn a little bit about what the relationship between the U.S. State Department is and the country itself, and then also spend time back on the Fulbright homepage for the country award summary. In a lot of places, we'll go to Indonesia since we're there. Down at the very bottom of the country award summary pages, they have links to the Fulbright Commission websites.
Also, I just noticed, I hadn't seen it before. Let's see, are we back to sharing the PowerPoint screen? I don't think we are. Let me just do that. Okay, here we go. On that Fulbright Indonesia page, it had a link to the ETA guidebook. Not every country offers this, but some of the countries will actually give you a link to the guidebook that they give ETAs when they're going to actually be doing the role in the country. So you can learn what lesson plans look like and that sort of thing, and educate yourself a little bit more about what the opportunity will entail. So this slide is just showing you the things that we just looked at. We're going to move along now to think about the actual, whoopsie, hold on, the application itself. There we go. Sorry about that. The application itself. So there is, I think we've given you a sense that there's a lot of research that you need to do on the Fulbright website, thinking about your own experience, talking with us about what might be a good fit. That's all part of leading up to actually applying. The Fulbright application itself is quite extensive. It's online and it's accessed through the Fulbright website under the Applications tab. One nice thing about it is you can open it up right away. Even as soon as we finish the webinar, you can open up an application and register. And you can enter a country that you think you might want to apply for and change your mind 3 weeks from now. So it's nice to just get in there and get yourself registered. And you can enter information and save as you go. You won't be able to upload your resume to the Fulbright online application, but you will want to enter all those wonderful activities that you do that show that you're a person who gets involved in their community and who is going to presumably carry that spirit into the destination country. So there's that portion of the application. But the heart of the application is the 2 essays, where you pour out all the reflection that you've done as you've thought about what you want to do and how you're qualified to do it. The first of the 2 essays that's in the application is the Statement of Grant Purpose, or we refer to it as the SGP. It's just 1 page, single-spaced essay. And that's where you're going to show, almost like in a cover letter for a job, how you are qualified, how you meet the needs of the role for that particular country. And going back to what Ryan said about the specificity of the role, this is where you don't want to be generic at all. You want to really hone in on what that country is looking for. You follow that up with a personal statement in which you convey your motivation for applying for the Fulbright at all, and give a window into who you are as a person. It's where you make them excited to meet you and tell them about yourself as a US citizen, yourself as a human being, in ways that will intrigue them and help them be able to envision who you are and what your personality is like. One person asked a question that I'm going to address now in the next portion about reports and references, and that is about foreign language evaluations. So foreign language evaluations are required for any country that requires a foreign language. So if you're applying to Malaysia, you don't need to submit a foreign language form. If you're applying to France, you do, because there is a language requirement there. That form is typically filled out by a faculty member at the institution or any qualified language teacher who can assess your qualifications in terms of your level of ability. There are 3 references that you need for this application. And one delightful thing to many reference writers is that for this application, for the ETA application only among the Fulbright suite, it's a form, not a letter. So it's not the same kind of letter a faculty member would write to send to a graduate school admissions office. Rather, it's a form that asks very specific questions that has to do with how you're equipped to teach. So are you able to pivot and be flexible in the classroom? Do you speak English in such a way that's clear and easy to understand? Are you an articulate speaker? Other things that have to do with your teaching ability. And then finally, we will also submit a campus committee evaluation along with your application. We could tell you more about that another time or after we're finished with the webinar, because I think we want to get on to the application timeline, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we may have said this earlier, you can apply for a Fulbright on your own. You're more than welcome to the United States U.S. Student Fulbright Program welcomes applicants from citizens. And you can apply at large. And if you did, you would follow the national deadline. If you choose to apply through your college, where you could get a lot of support through helping navigate these resources, really helping you, providing a sounding board to you in developing your essays, which are a key part of getting an award. Other kinds of support that the college might be able to provide, including the campus committee evaluation. Then you'll want to pay attention to the college deadline. Both Amherst and Mount Holyoke have college deadlines that are earlier than the national deadlines. At MHC, it's because we have a committee on fellowships, Fulbright ETA committee, who reviews applications and can provide some feedback on places where the application might be strengthened or what have you. And that's useful because your application will, at the first level of competition for an ETA, go to instructors at the university setting who are either experts in English, English teaching, or communications. So in all the ETA panels I've observed, these are they're faculty members, volunteer faculty members from around the country who will be reviewing these grants first off. And they're not experts in the country or the language, but they are teachers of teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, hitting those application deadlines first can be helpful for you.
Mm-hmm.
We've listed those there.
Mm-hmm. And just to chime in, we also have a campus committee review process that involves both evaluation and advice giving. And at both of our institutions, you're beginning at just the right point to think about this, and know that throughout the summer is when we typically are helping you work on your applications to fine-tune them and hone them so that they're really ready for that early submission date on September 1st.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that actually I answered a question that just came in at the very end. If you've already graduated, do you abide at all by the September 1st deadline? At Mount Holyoke, you're welcome to apply as an alumna at any time, as long as you're within the restriction. Each country has its own eligibility requirements and eligibility criteria. But really, if you do not yet have a PhD, you can apply for a U.S. Student Fulbright grant, regardless of age.
Same, and we love working with alums as well as students. And as we all have learned recently, there's almost nothing you can't do virtually. So we can interview you virtually, we can work on essays virtually. It's not a barrier whatsoever. And the Fulbright program directors tell us that statistically speaking, candidates do better, are more apt to be successful if they do apply with the support of faculty or of campus advisors, mainly because we can share a lot of knowledge with you from our experience of seeing successful applications go through. So we hope you do apply through your alma mater. We are at 1 o'clock. So I know it flew for us anyway. So we would like to just note that if you do apply and you do actually get to the point of submitting that application, we will celebrate with you, and you will celebrate because you will have accomplished a really big task, not only of just writing it and getting it done, but also of self-assessment and reflection and thinking important questions about who you want to be and what you want to do. And also just learning to think of your goals and presenting them in terms of an organization's mission. We want to thank you for spending this hour with us and hope that you'll get in touch with us individually. Did you want to say any parting words?
No, just thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun to put these together, a lot of work to put these together, a lot I've learned in putting these things together, and really, for those of you who have to leave, it's a very big program. It's difficult to generalize, and if you have questions, talk with somebody. Christine, me, other folks who may have gone through it, and certainly the Fulbright organization as well. And we're here to help as best we can.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.